welcome back to another live broadcast day. My name is Dave Vincent alongside David Fink. We're at the Los Angeles Athletic Club for the WPH Simple Green Race for 8 live here at racefor8.com. This is stop number 7. The winners of this tournament, of this qualifier, will go into the Elite 8 to make a unique 12-man tournament. And that's not where the fun begins, Dave, because somebody could knock off somebody who is trying to make the Players' Championship Seattle, Washington in late May.
Well, this is the first time in the history of handball, Dave, where we've had an entire season played for the right to qualify for the season-ending Players' Championship. So there's a lot of buzz right now, Dave, particularly for those 6th, 7th, and 8th spots, right now occupied by myself, Luis Cordova, and Andy Nett. But all three of us, Dave, are vulnerable to the 10th, 11th, 12th, and maybe even 13th or 14th guys knocking us out. So there's a lot of intrigue here this week. We've already seen a couple of amazing matchups, Dave. Just before we came on the air, we saw John Robles, who's reffing here, leading Carlos Chavez, who's ranked 18th, 23-20 to 25, before Carlos made a valiant comeback to win 25-23. And on the adjacent court, it was Martin Garcia, Dave, leading 23-16 over the Cinderella story, Vic Perez, before serving for that match and ultimately losing 27-25.
And the opening rally ends in a flat roll right there from Alan Garner's brother, Aaron Garner. San Antonio, Texas versus Eddie Silvera. Yes, that's the brother of Toddy Silvera and David Silvera. So we've got otherwise known as or slash brothers of famous handball players on the court here today, Dave, for this semifinals of a qualifier match. This is qualifier number 2. The winner will look like they will face probably Emmett Peixote at 4 o'clock this afternoon Pacific time.
I believe, Dave, after this tournament, we will not be referring to Aaron Garner any longer as Alan's brother, as I believe it's about that time for Aaron to make a name for himself in the pro handball world. He is unbelievably fit, Dave. In the words of his brother, not only is he the best-looking person at this tournament, but he's also by far the fittest. This guy is, as they say, Dave, yoked. It's interesting, Dave, because as fit as Aaron is, he does not play a very aggressive handball game. He's much more of a rallier, keeps the ball deep and high, forces his opponents into a lot of really long rallies, and those certainly take their toll. Eddie will have to be extremely fit to withstand what I expect to be at least 20, 15-plus shot rallies in this 25-point game match.
This is 1 game to 25. You win by 2. They're using traditional scoring here for the qualifier, not rally scoring, but traditional scoring. There's a 3-minute break at 15. We call it halftime. After that, the person that was the return of serve player to start off the match will be serving after the 15th point. Aaron Garner serving to Eddie Silvera, wearing the red shirt, Aaron wearing the black shirt. Has amazing power, Dave, does Aaron Garner. I mean,
he can hit the ball about as hard as anybody. And he does it with perfect technique. He doesn't overswing. He doesn't muscle the ball. And certainly he's got a lot of muscles, but he's gets himself set behind the ball and just drives into it. He's one of the most deceptive players, Dave, that I've ever seen. One of these guys that looks like maybe he's not doing that much, but when you're in the court with him, Dave, and I know that you've been, he's an incredible controlling player. He can control the ball, put the ball virtually wherever he wants it. I believe, Dave, if he shot the ball just a little bit more, you'd see him in that top 8.
Spread out.
And I know you're saying, well, the top 8's only 8 guys, yet every time we see a new guy, we say he'd be in the top 8. So the top 8 is really about 40 guys.
0-3.
Score is 0 serves 3. Silvera serving to Aaron Garner. Really hits the ball hard, Dave.
Silvera, Dave, underrated by some in this webcast booth, but I know, Dave, you believe that he's a serious threat to qualify here. You've done your homework.
That was confirmed with the great John Bike, who stopped by. Future Hall of Famer said, hey, haven't seen him play as of late, but he's definitely dangerous. And certainly he's probably not a player you want to run into on your way anywhere. I mean, Dave, I know that you're an elite player, top 6,
Second
but
serve.
running into a guy like Aaron Garner or Eddie Silvera kind of is disruptive, because that hurts you for later rounds if you were to get past one of those guys.
Well, that's certainly no guarantee. Both these guys playing a really good ball, and that's
Point.
an example of those amazing high ceiling shots that Aaron Garner is able to hit with consistency.
4-0.
Eddie, as you've said before, Dave, off his feet. When you get a pro player off his feet, you've done something really good.
Aaron Garner is being watched right now by Papa
Coming in, 0.
Jim Garner from San Antonio, Texas, who gave us great news today. They've been working for 6 years on getting 3-wall courts built in San Antonio, Texas. And Haven for Hope, which is a downtown center in San Antonio, is going to break ground for 2 3-wall courts, a 1-wall court, and some basketball courts. And they are going to really put their effort into making this one of the very best handball facilities around, using the same plans as the KCAC, the courts that are used there.
Well, they'll need a lot of kegs then if they want to follow suit.
Well, I don't
with the KCAC.
think there's going to be any alcohol consumption there.
Well, you said it was like the KCAC.
Well, I was talking about the courts. That's why I finished it by
34.
saying this, like the courts.
Oh, okay.
Congrats to those working behind the scenes in San Antonio, Texas. Joe Murphy, Dr. Ace Mallory, James Garner, area handball players, and a private benefactor who donated a lot of cash and time to get this off the ground.
Unfortunately for the San Antonio Handball Club, their best player and their greatest player of all time, the blonde bombshell himself, Alan Garner, doesn't play 3-wall.
Well, he might after these courts are built. And I bet you he does. I look to see that he will win a national championship within 3 years of those courts being built, by the way.
Well, in his last 3-wall event, Dave, he was sent packing in the very first round, and that's the only 3-wall event he's played in the last 6 years. So he's 0-1 in pro 3-wall in the last 6 years. I certainly wouldn't put anything past Alan, who in fact, Dave, is my favorite to win this event this week, despite coming into this tournament with an 8-6 record this season. Did you ever think you'd say that, Dave? Alan Garner, 8-6 on the Race for 8 Pro Tour season. Just goes to show you the quality of the fields here on the Race for 8.
Thank you.
Aaron Garner talking to Eddie Silvera here during this rally, and Eddie said he was screened, and Aaron said, well, let's just give it to you over again. So instead of it being 6-0, it's now 5-0.
4-0.
Referee actually calling 4-0.
Well, I kind of jumped the score there. 4-0 instead of it being 5-0. It's 4-0.
Hold it, replay.
And I'm shocked, Dave. A referee is a guy that plays as close as anyone I've ever seen, yet here he is calling ticky-tack hinders. That was a setup for Aaron Garner there that he took away from him. If John Robles was reffing his own matches, Dave, it would be 0-0 for an eternity.
Are you trying to say that John Robles is a hypocrite? Because I'm not going to say it. I have a feeling you're saying it, but I'm not going to say it.
Well, he was winning today until he got to 23.
Point.
Then the Warlock faded out as Carlos Chavez made that late surge.
5-0.
5-0 here is double Aaron Garner.
I actually call him T.O.B., the other bombshell.
I don't think anybody likes being the other anything. I'm not trying to break out into my Andy Rooney impersonation, but
it's a little bit before my time anyway.
Andy Rooney was part of everybody's time.
Hold it.
If you would spend less time watching golf with the volume turned down and more time watching 60 Minutes on Sundays, you'd understand the reference.
If you only knew that I got the tennis channel now, and that's primarily on with the volume down.
Cutting into your tanning time.
Haven't been able to tan as much as I would like. My wife tells me it makes me look old. As you know, Dave is a married man, a couple months longer than I. When you hear those little digs, you tend to change your routine just a little bit.
Side out. Zero serve 6.
Score is 0-6 here.
Eddie Silvera having a difficult time getting himself on the board here. That was a pretty good serve from Eddie Silvera that
Hold
Aaron
it.
Garner just
Replay.
popped right to the ceiling. And another questionable call there on a big setup from Eddie. Taken away.
0 serve 6. Side out. 6-0.
Aaron just with too much power early here in this match for Eddie Silvera. Eddie Silvera's missed a
Right
couple
out.
of opportunities.
No bad bounces, I've been told.
Aaron doesn't like that rule right there. He clearly would have got to play that ball over, but now he gets a side out. Ball hits the light fixture and goes straight down.
1.
That's not something you can really prepare
Serve
for unless
6.
you play that way in practice. We've
Excuse me,
actually started
timeout.
getting the guys locally
Wrong
to play
score.
no bad bounces. They love it in
My fault.
practice.
Well, I've had
0 serve
a
6.
couple of handball players, not many, complain about the bad bounces. I said, you know, you name me one other sport, and there's a lot of them out there that would replay a point
Right.
based on a bad bounce. I played tennis on a clay court yesterday. It had rained the day before. There were spots on the court where the ball didn't even bounce. You're set up to hit a
1-6.
forehand or backhand. The ball doesn't even bounce. We don't take the point over. There were
Front
4
foot.
balls that hit the line and
Ball.
skidded, picked up about 15 miles per hour and skidded right underneath my racket, but that's just part of the game. But yet, for some reason in handball, and I know that you've marked off
Second.
your card there.
Yes, hold on. I'm still in the middle of marking it off. It's
Okay.
37 minutes until we got your first tennis reference here on the live broadcast today. So, okay, that is now down on the scorecard. 37 minutes, right? Okay, anyway, keep going.
But I don't see any difference here in
Out.
handball. I don't believe that Aaron Garner's shot that hit that light was going to make it anyway. But
6
regardless,
serve 1.
this is part of sports. There's variables involved.
Point.
Well, the guys locally are loving it because they say, hey, it's just we're in there playing and you made a bad bounce, so who cares? You're not playing for a national
7
championship
serves 1.
in practice anyway. But it does get you prepared. It also makes you more alert because you know that you have to play every ball. You see a lot of these guys that get a bad bounce and then they just give up. But they probably could have got it if they were thinking about it.
Well, I think that's the key, Dave, is the alertness. When you're looking for it and you're expecting it, knowing that you'll be playing the bad bounce, it's
Coming
really
in.
not a big deal. It's when you've told yourself that when the ball bounces badly that you just stop playing that you see a lot of these guys
1
complaining.
serve 7.
Referee is John Robles. 1-7 is the score here. Eddie Silvera serving to
Short.
Aaron Garner. And Eddie looks really
Second.
almost over-relaxed. Look how he just throws the ball into play there. I know that's his style. He's not as aggressive as his brothers.
Well, David Silvera wasn't the most aggressive player. He was a prolific offensive
Replay.
shooter, but he also just threw the ball into the court on the serve, didn't really do much with the serve, and you'd think he was out for a walk in the park, not winning
1
pro stocks,
serve
but that was just
7.
how he played. There's a shot of the number 5 seed in this event, Charlie Shanks, who was gracious enough to referee a match here early in the day. That's what we call pro players giving back, Dave. Appreciating their obligation and embracing it.
Side out.
Well, it's rare, but it happens in handball all the time.
We actually have a
7
Pro
serving
Player of the
1.
Month award that we've handed out every month on the Race for 8 Pro Tour. That goes not only for great play, Dave, but also great citizenship in the game.
If only Anthony Celesto would become a pro player, he would get it every single tournament.
Well, we
Point.
also factor in your announcing
Time
skills,
out.
so I
Eddie
wouldn't be
Silvera.
so
I haven't
quick.
got one either. There's that amazing crowd here at
1 minute.
the Los Angeles Athletic Club. 7-1 is the score. You're watching the WPH Simple Green Race for 8 as we are live here in beautiful downtown Los Angeles alongside Dave Fink. My name is Dave Vincent. Want to say thanks to those that have tuned into the broadcast today, watching a couple what we thought were going to be blackout matches that would not have made the live webcast but were kind of marquee. Certainly this is one of them here with double Aaron versus Eddie Silvera. 1 game to 25, you have to win by 2, no rally scoring, so that's traditional scoring, halftime 15. There will be a 3-minute break, just a Great shot there of the crowd as we pan through and show you the sights and sounds of the Los Angeles Athletic Club.
That's one of the things that you love about handball, Dave, is
Resume play.
Alan Garner,
8
the
serves,
4th
1.
seed, hanging out with Charlie Shanks, the 5th seed. These guys are great rivals. They've had some really great matchups throughout the years, including this year. And to see that camaraderie,
Point.
it's really something special.
9 serves, 1.
And if
Hold
I was
Replay.
Aaron Garner here, Dave, watching Eddie Silvera return that Z serve did not look comfortable at
9,
all. I would
serving
stick with
1.
this Z serve until Eddie proves he can do something with it, and that's what Aaron's going to do. You see Eddie just not a real fluid-looking swing with that mid-level sidearm left. And a lot of players struggle with that shot. Eddie does not struggle with that
Coming in.
tomahawk fist kill, though.
That was an amazing tomahawk kill in the left corner.
1 serves, 9.
Love to see a replay of that. Once we get the replay mechanism working on our TriCaster 5000 LXR. I made all that part up, but sounds impressive.
Side out.
Eddie gets banked in behind Aaron, and Aaron puts it away, and then Eddie just throws up his hands like, you know,
9
I put
serves,
myself
1.
in this position, I deserve that.
Well, you'll notice, Dave, that Aaron's hitting over 85% of his shots right around that dotted restraining line or short line area, which means that he's controlling the front court with Eddie constantly scooping the ball, really unable to drive anything. That time he drives the ball into the left side crack, and Aaron makes the error. I know, Dave, on your scorecard, you don't consider
1
that an
serves, 9.
unforced error. I do mark that on mine as an unforced error. So it really is the decision of who's ever the official scorekeeper, which happens to be you in this match.
But at the end of the year, it seems to all wash itself out.
Well,
Point.
As we take each other's notes into consideration and divide by 2.
2 serves, 9.
2 serves, 9.
don't tell that to the Rockies' former ace who threw a perfect game only to be
Point.
robbed of the 27th out by the umpire who called the base runner safe at first when he was clearly out. And I wish I remembered his name. It starts with a J, 3 syllables.
3 serves, 9.
And when I hear it, I'm going to be really upset.
Side out.
And Eddie's made a lot of really athletic punch dive gets. That time unable to
Outside.
make the get.
Well,
But he'll have to do more against Aaron Garner than just make those miraculous gets. He'll have to start dictating play here if he wants to climb into this match. Remember, it's only one game. And Aaron with a huge lead here.
referee John Robles throwing that towel in.
Some said he threw the towel in when he was up 23-20 in his match.
Ubaldo Jimenez. And you're counting the syllables to take that as a victory or not?
Well, I knew I was on the right track.
Jimenez, okay, yeah. That ball sounded like it broke. These courts are made of panel, Dave, and they seem to be a little bit slower than some of the past race stops like Fresno and Tucson and Atlanta.
Well, I believe this is the only stop, Dave, that has been played on panel throughout this entire season. And Eddie took the shot there.
Oh, and they're going to replay this. Terrible call from the referee. I mean, I do agree that there was congestion and contact, but Eddie could have easily have held up. I want that contact. I want to make that play, don't you, Dave?
Well, that's a player having it both ways. If he makes the shot, he takes the point. If he misses it, he gets the hinder call. It's amazing that the guys who argue the most, you'd think that they'd be the best referees since they're apparently always right, but they turn out a lot of times to be the worst referees.
And another replay here called by referee Flash, John Robles. Double Aaron Garner serving here. The setup off the back wall.
Great power
Replay
there.
it. Hold it.
This is the old school reffing, Dave, where
11
you
serves
see
3.
any hint of contact or even the slightest screen that doesn't affect the plate, the old school referees
Second.
will call that and they'll replay it every time. The new school referees, Dave, like Abe Montijo or Luis Moreno, will let the plays continue, and that's what these younger players like. They like
Side
to
out.
fight through a little bit of contact or fight through
Well,
those
the
picks.
play wasn't where that
3
slight weird
serves 11.
screen contact took place. It was coming off the back wall on a revolving door situation.
Well, I agree with you. And Eddie actually hit a very good shot off the revolving door, proving that the play didn't affect him.
Side out.
Strange. Eddie
11
wanted a
serves
screen
3.
ball on that.
Well, this is the problem when the referee starts making those non-hinder calls. Hinders, the players ask for everything. That's
Wow.
the first really great power that we've seen from
Coming in.
Eddie Silvera. Just crushing that ball down the right side wall.
Check it.
Now his brother Toddy, probably one of the hardest hitters of all time, if not the hardest hitter of all time.
I'd say if you're going to account for both-handed power, probably the hardest hitter of all time, because he could generate just as much power with his right as he did with his left.
Now what's going to go on here? Let's look at this replay. Now they found something inside the ball is rattling. And they both agreed to replace the ball. Now since it's defective, does that play get played over the previous, or since they both agreed to replace the ball?
No, the point is not replayed unless the ball is broken. Now, if both players agree
Eddie,
to
how are your
change the
gloves?
ball, then they
Change
can
them, please.
change the ball, but that does not mean
You
that
guys got
the
2 minutes.
previous point is replayed.
Silvera really laid into that ball in that replay, brought to you by Owen Gloves. We're at the Los Angeles Athletic Club for race stop number 7. Essentially, the first 7 stops are like a qualifier of sorts, qualifying the very elite 8 players that will be named the Elite 8 at the TPC at LAAC, the Player Championship, which will happen in May. That's May 18th and 19th. Book your tickets now. Get a hold of Joel Carlson to purchase your Player Championship tickets and inquire about special LAAC hotel room rates. That's Joel, Joel Carlson. That's Carlson, Joel.Carlson at yahoo.com. You could also call him up. Area code 206-660-9878, 206-660-9878. Joel Carlson will sell you those tickets. Now, I was talking to some guys locally. They said they're flying to Seattle, that they're going to make this a big family vacation. They're going to bring up the wives and the kids, and they're going to watch the Elite 8, the Players Championship.
Now, on Saturday night, Dave, after the finals, Lindsay Lohan will be on hand awarding the players' cards to the top 8 players who have qualified for that Seattle championship. She'll be handing out actual gold cards. That's your invitation. It's an invitation-only event. Word is, though, Dave, she's had some trouble at a hookah lounge, I believe you told me, and she may have a hard time getting herself here to award those invitations. So that will remain to be seen.
We'll see what happens tonight on Fox Local News, because she could be going back to jail if it is a hit and run.
11.
Well, we do have Linda Manning as a backup to hand out those invitations, so we will be okay. But we were hoping to have Lindsay Lohan here. No offense to our producer, Linda.
Linda has better teeth than Lindsay.
Coming in.
And you know how Linda loves her coffee.
11 serves 3.
It was Lindsay Lohan hosting Saturday Night Live last week. This week, Dave, will be another version of Saturday Night Live as we play our 7th primetime final here at the LAAC.
Won't really be Saturday night. It'll be Saturday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but that's late enough. Lindsay's still in bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so hopefully she...
That's true.
This is a semifinals. Now you can hear brother Alan Garner
12 serves 3.
trying to pump up Aaron here. There's a point now, 13-3.
Alan telling me earlier today, Dave, that he's taking his coaching responsibilities very seriously here today. He's here today solely as a coach. He's not here as a player. He's not here with his gear, warming up, getting used to the courts. He said, I'm here solely to coach my brother. we're taking this very seriously. Aaron Garner has played in only one other race stop this
14,
year, and
serve
that was
3.
at the U.S. Open, race stop number 2, where he drew Dave Chapman in the first round, the current reigning national four-wall singles champion, which obviously not a good draw for Aaron, but he's back now a little bit later in the season. And Aaron's been doing a lot of preparation coming into this event, Dave, and it's showing right now. In fact, Aaron just played the world #1, Luis Moreno, at the end of February weekender in Eugene, Oregon, close to where Aaron lives in Portland, and did pretty well against the natural. Was in mid-double figures in both games there. So
Halftime, 3 minutes.
that's certainly tremendous preparation, Dave, coming into an event like this just 2 weeks ago, being on the court in a tournament semifinal with the world #1 and faring pretty well in that match.
Well, the 15th point was scored by Aaron Garner here, and that brings us to halftime. It's a 3-minute break as these guys get ready to go into those last 10 points. Hopefully for Eddie Silvera and his fan club, it'll be the last 23 points as he needs to put something together. What is Eddie going to have to do to face off? Really, what I see is this Aaron Garner putting so much power and pushing Eddie out of the front court. What is Eddie going to have to do now? Go up to the roof, try to go down the walls?
Well, Aaron has that amazing ability to just keep you off balance throughout virtually every rally. We only saw Eddie able to step into one ball, and that was the slow motion replay that we watched, Dave, where he drilled a ball down the right side wall. Eddie's going to need to figure out a way to get his feet set, get himself behind the ball, and stepping in and driving the ball and applying some pressure, because right now all I see Eddie doing is scooping the ball and just sort of playing the role of retriever, where Aaron Garner is completely in control of every rally. So unless Eddie is able to start to develop that kind of pace and that kind of control, it could be a very short afternoon here for the local favorite. I'd like to see Eddie try and mix up his serve, because this modified soft power serve is really not having any kind of effect on Aaron. And Aaron's Z serve has been very effective against Eddie. And this game really, Dave, comes down to the serve and the return of serve, because all these guys can hit the ball with both hands, but whoever can find that serve that works, that gives them either points or setups, and also whoever can return the serve into a neutralizing position or maybe even an offensive return, is the guy that ends up winning these matches. And that's what you see, Dave, in the pro game. Right now we've got the numbers 1, 2, and 3 players, I believe, with the top 3 serves in the sport, with Luis Moreno, Sean Lenning, and Nadia Alvarado. And Charlie Shanks number 4 in those race points, and he's another one of those amazing servers. So basically you've got the top 4 best servers in the sport at numbers 1 through 4 in the world. And I think that that's not a coincidence. And right now it's whether you're hitting a Z serve like Aaron is right now, or you hit those deep 2-wall cracks like Sean Lenning, or just the power serves down both walls like Nadia or Luis. That's what separates the guys winning these stops and the guys maybe not even qualifying for them.
You are watching the WPH Simple Green Race for 8 Los Angeles Athletic Club Pro Handball Stop and Qualifier. The WPH qualifier is today, which brings the deepest draw of the year, as the last stop on the tour will be highlighted, who will be named the Elite 8 in the Players' Championship scheduled for May 18th and 19th of 2012 in Seattle, Washington at the Washington Athletic Club. Contact Joel Carlson to purchase your Player Championship tickets and hotel room rates. Joel Carlson at 206-660-9878. That's 206-660-9878 as we get back into the second half of play here with Eddie Silvera serving versus Aaron Garner. This is a semifinals of a qualifier round. Winner will face Emmett Peixote. That was a strange shot right there. I mean, you would think that Eddie would have saw that. That ball looked like Eddie was screened. Just a real sloppy opening of that second half of play. There's the blonde bombshell, Alan Garner, at the bottom of your screen.
15, serves 3.
Alan Garner said that he's been here in Los Angeles since Tuesday. Came here for a little family vacay, he said.
Told me he was really enjoying one of his only vacations
16,
without
3.
handball the last couple of days.
But
I've taken one of those in my life. And
yeah, but it's topped off by playing handball.
well,
it's a
I think he considered the first 2 days non-handball. I've taken one non-handball vacation in my life, and I never experienced anything like it.
And could you tell me how that trip went?
It was wonderful. It was just very relaxing.
That's when you went to Hawaii.
That's right.
Maui.
Did manage to
Coming
play
in.
tennis every day at 8 a.m. Twice a day, as a matter of fact. But it wasn't handball.
3, serve 16.
Beautiful place there in Maui. I know that you've been there, Dave. You don't like it as much as maybe I do, but
No, I love Maui.
okay. I don't know why I left. I still don't think about it a lot.
I'm in a different income bracket as you, so
Hmm.
I always end up on the Big Island, where all the volcanoes are at.
Start out.
Trying to find Jeff Kastner and his wedding reception. So I don't get to spend much time in
16,
Kauai
serve
or
3.
Maui. Nope, I get Kona.
Hmm.
Not necessarily the best island.
Nice left there
Coming
from
in.
Eddie.
Very nonchalant left there. I'm going to tell you, Dave, during that last break that I
3,
had a
serve
conversation
16.
today with Corey Kozak,
Hold it.
the executive
Short.
producer with ESPN and Outside the Lines. Said that he's going to
That bar was
get everything going over this summer and fall back with the WPH
Second.
and possibly go and exploit some more handball
serve.
with the Jake Plummer family hell of a handball bash in Idaho. That he said that he's doing stuff with the Olympic stories in Germany and Poland and England, Spain over the next couple months. But he really likes the characters of handball, and ESPN will do a piece by following around the pro players in an article that will be, or I should say, a video article with Outside the Lines. It looks like Outside the Lines, but
Point.
it could be another program. But he's certainly going to follow handball players around to their homes and catch them in their element. So
4,
that's gonna
serve
pretty
16.
good news today from Corey Kozak.
Very exciting.
Point.
Similar to what you did, Dave, in 2007 when you followed Sean Lenning doing his training outside in the 3-wall courts in the rain, actually,
5,
in
serve
Seattle.
16.
And also you followed Paul Brady as well, as those two clashed in the final there in one of the best matches we've ever seen, certainly on the live broadcast. And now Eddie's starting to
Point.
come to life a little bit here, Dave, and we've seen this in earlier matches. It was George Garcia trailing 16-3 against Eric
6,
Kilgren,
serving 16.
cut that lead to just 3 at 19-16 before Eric Kilgren won that match. And it will be Eric Kilgren on this court at the top of the next hour against Chip Morales, the #1 seed here in this qualifier, by virtue of his 8.5 ranking points that he's earned in Fresno, Atlanta,
out.
and Salt Lake City. Chip Morales, Dave, much like Emmett Peugeot, got his race season started late,
16,
joined the
serve
race
6.
in the middle of the season, but he's really made a name for himself, and he's put himself in a position here, mathematically at least, Dave, where
Point.
he could qualify for Seattle with a big showing here, and he will need a big showing here.
17, serve 6.
But I don't want to waste all my material, Dave, for the next match.
Right.
So I'm going to get back into the live action here as it's Aaron Garner dismantling Eddie Silvera. And Dave, it's 18-6, but it really doesn't feel
18,
that
serve
close.
6.
This has been all Aaron Garner all day.
Look at that nonchalant return right there from Eddie Silvera. He's just missing out on those kill shot attempts, Dave. I mean, he's trying to break the ball down the wall, and he's hitting him into the ground.
You know, when you're nonchalant like Sean Lenning and you're
19,
winning pro
serving
stops,
6.
it seems like it's a good way to play. But when you're nonchalant down 19-6, it kind of seems like maybe you need a little bit of a wake-up call.
This is the same Eddie that was highlighted in a lot of our early broadcasts. Remember when Team Eddie was out there at the U.S. Open? This is the other half. Eddie Chapa was his doubles partner. This is Eddie Silvera.
20, serve 6.
I have to say, Dave, that
Point.
It's an amazing ace from Aaron Garner. Very disappointed that we don't see the top big ball players competing here this week. And we know that a lot of those big ball players are also really top small ball players as well. And it's disappointing, although I believe we have the deepest qualifier draw of the season here today. But imagine how much deeper it would be if we had guys like Samson Hernandez and Ricky Ruiz and Shorter Ruiz competing here.
I agree with you. I was talking to Marcos Chavez. In fact, Marcos is one of the qualifiers here, probably will qualify. Went out to dinner last night, and he said that Samson Hernandez is unbelievable. He said he's one of the most, he has the most potential of any player he's ever seen in a four-wall court. He played recently down here and just destroyed the field, he said. Just can do anything he wants to do with a handball, yet Samson's not here. Ricky Ruiz qualified in the past. He's not here. Sal Duenas played in the finals, lost in the A's at the Waif Reisner tournament here. He said he played top ball. He lost 11-10 in a breaker, which is what Sal does. But, you know, some of these guys, I'm very surprised they don't come out here and try to see if they can pick off one of the top players. I mean, it's not very often do you have a pro stop in Los Angeles. It's been years, in fact, at this magnitude.
Well, I played Samson Hernandez in the 2010 U.S. Open, and he is a phenomenon. I believe that was only about his 4th or 5th experience playing small ball handball in a 4-wall court, and just absolutely amazing. In fact, defeated Fergal Collins, who was a top 16 pro at that time, to make the round of 16 at the U.S. Open. And he's certainly gifted. But we can only focus on who is here, Dave, and right now we are down to 8 players after Aaron Garner finishes off this match. And we'll be seeing all 8 of those guys, Dave, competing for the coveted 4 spots into the men's pro top 12.
6 serving 24.
Hard to go wrong, Dave, with any of the 4 matchups that we'll have in the qualifier final, but I think that I'm most eagerly anticipating the Aaron Garner, Emmett Peugeot clash. These guys have similar styles, Dave, Aaron and Emmett. Both guys like to rally. I think Aaron's got more power than Emmett, but Emmett's got better speed and also a better kill shot. And of course, as I say that, Aaron Garner finishes off the match with a 1.5-foot high rollout. And Aaron Garner now books his spot in the qualifier final.
Coming up next, it's going to be Chip Morales versus Eric Hilgren. The 2 o'clock Pacific time match is up next on this live broadcast on a beautiful Thursday afternoon in sunny Southern California. We're at the Los Angeles Athletic Club. It was double Aaron Garner taking down Eddie Silvera in this semifinals, and now we'll face Emmett Peugeot at 4 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for Dave Fink, Linda Manning, Omar Lemus, Ashley Moeller. My name is Dave Vincent. You stick right here for more qualifier action in Los Angeles at racefor8.com.
1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
For 20 years, the Inner City Handball Association has educated, mentored, and served young people through handball. Young people that participate in the Inner City Handball Association programs have a high graduation rate from high school and continue on to college. Inner City Handball teams are good athletes, good students, and good ambassadors for the sport of handball. We need your help to continue our work. Inner City Handball Association is a registered 501c3 tax-exempt charity. Please donate today. Thank you.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.